Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite_UK. Explore the stories behind the numbers, emotions, and connections in sports. Subscribe to the channel now. This information comes in a fairly calm state, but the more I read slowly, the more I realize that beneath the seemingly dry numbers and schedules flows a very clear stream of emotions, a story of attraction, of belief, and of how people connect with each other through sport. The first thing that made me pause for longer was the detail that tickets at one New Zealand stadium in Christchurch sold out in just 4 hours. 4 hours, a very short time considering the scale of a national event, yet long enough to reflect something deeper, anticipation that had been building for a long time. I don't think those tickets were simply about having a seat in the stands. For many people, they were an opportunity to become part of a moment, a memory they would carry for a lifetime. I wondered what makes a team like the All Blacks generate such powerful appeal. Not just their achievements, not just the victories. If it were only about winning, perhaps many teams around the world could achieve the same. But here, I sensed something beyond the results, a unique identity. The All Blacks are not just a rugby team, they are a symbol, a source of pride, and a part of New Zealand's culture. Thinking about this, I realized that at its deepest level, sport is not a story of winning or losing. It is a story of unity. When a 30,000-seat stadium fills up in a few hours, it means 30,000 different people, different occupations, circumstances, thoughts, yet sharing a common emotion. And perhaps, in the moment the game begins, all those differences temporarily disappear.
I found myself reflecting on the upcoming matches in Wellington and Auckland, where tickets are still available, but expected to sell out quickly. This made me think about a familiar reality. People often truly appreciate the value of an experience only when they see it could disappear. The feeling of scarcity, whether it's a ticket to a match, or any opportunity in life, always pushes us to act faster, more decisively. But without that pressure, would we value these things as much? I don't have a definite answer, but I think this is a lesson I can apply to myself. Perhaps I shouldn't wait until an opportunity is almost gone to start caring. There are things that, if I recognize their value earlier, I could experience them more fully instead of scrambling at the last minute. The note about fans being encouraged to buy tickets through official channels also made me think in another direction, that of trust. In a world where information can be distorted and unofficial options always exist, maintaining a transparent and reliable system is no easy task. Yet it is precisely that clarity that forms the foundation for building a sustainable community. I believe that not just in sports, but in any field, trust is always a core factor. Once trust is lost, everything else, no matter how appealing, becomes fragile. Regarding the first Championship of Nations in 2026, I feel a mix of excitement and contemplation. A new tournament with 12 top nations participating is not only a step forward in organization, but also a sign of growth. Yet, it also raises a question: how can we preserve the original spirit of the sport as its scale expands?
I think this is not an easy equation. When something grows larger, it also becomes more complex. Commercialization can bring resources but may also alter its essence. And I realize that not only rugby, but any field, when it develops to a certain extent, must face the balance between core values and expansion. From a personal perspective, I feel I've learned an important lesson. Growth is not about moving faster at all costs, but knowing where you are going and why. Without a clear foundation, growth can easily become misdirected. If I put myself in the shoes of a fan, I think this experience is not just about watching a match. It is the journey of preparation, from buying tickets, waiting for the day, to stepping into the stadium and immersing oneself in the atmosphere. Each stage has its own value. And perhaps it is this process that makes it special, not just the final result of the game. Looking more broadly, I think this story reflects something very human. We are always seeking moments to connect with others, with a group, or even with ourselves. A rugby match may not change the world, but it can change how a person perceives the world for a short time. And sometimes, that alone is enough. When I pause and reflect, I realize that the greatest lesson I take away is not about the 30,000 tickets or the 4-hour sellout. It is about understanding that the true value of an event does not lie in its scale but in the meaning that people assign to it.
For me personally, this reminds me to slow down, observe more closely, and cherish experiences, whether small or large, while they are still before me. For fans, perhaps it's a reminder that passion is not just about cheering, but also about connection and responsibility to the community they are part of. And for people in general, this story shows that, across cultures, we share clear commonalities, the need to belong, to share, and to live meaningful moments. I don't think this is just a sports report. To me, it feels like a small slice of life, where seemingly simple things reflect very profound values. And perhaps it is these slices that help me understand the world and myself more clearly.
Thank you for joining Scrum Masters Elite_UK in exploring the emotions and connections behind the numbers. See you in the next experiences.